New England Ski Journal's Basecamp Podcast, presented by Country Ski and Sport. Ski season is here, and it's time to gear up at Country Ski and Sport. Shop now for your best preseason deals at any of their 3 locations in Hanson, Quincy, and Westwood, Mass. Or shop online at countryski.com.
Hey everybody, welcome into the Basecamp Podcast here at the New England Ski Journal. I'm Mike Spiecian, your host, with my co-host,
Producer David Yaz at your service, filling in per usual. Hopefully I've not completely fallen on my face on these podcasts, Mike, but I consider myself just the shepherd to shepherd on all this wonderful knowledge that you have to our listening public.
David, I can tell you, you have done an incredible job here as co-host.
You're overselling it a little, but that's very nice.
You know what? You are the producer. I got to get points where I can. You hold the cards when it's all said and done.
That's right.
But I hope everybody got out and took a walk, took a hike after last week, 2 weeks ago episode about hiking, about safety, about the White Mountains. It was really fun to talk about that.
Well, it answers the eternal question: is where do skiers go in the summertime? And if they can't find a snowy peak, there are plenty of other things to do. Those mountains aren't going anywhere. They're still there. Let's hike them. Let's bike them.
They are. Bike them. Mm-hmm. You a mountain biker?
No, never really caught that bug, but eager to learn about it today.
Never too late, man. Never too late.
They say it's like riding a bike. You just get right back on.
You get right back on, and especially with where equipment has come today. The whole purpose with this podcast is to talk about things we can do outdoors or things we do outdoors. And in this case, normally in the winter, we're talking about skiing. In the summer, we're taking the journey in a different way to hiking and now a little mountain biking.
Which is great, because I do want to learn about it. And do you get out a lot, mountain biking?
So I was riding an awful lot. Of course, I'm back on my gravel bike right now. The knee is good, by the way, after the knee surgery. But
come a long way.
Yeah. You know what? So much of my time is on road and gravel, but I've ridden mountain an awful lot. I've been riding since, oh my goodness, the heydays of the mid 80s, late 80s, when mountain biking was growing in Marin County, California, and it was coming here. But mountain biking has changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm. Improvements in the equipment you were mentioning, because I look at it as something that anyone can go out and take a hike for the most part. Mountain biking is something I'd fear you'd have to really build up to, especially when I see those guys going downhill at those speeds. So, but you have no fear, so.
Well, mountain biking comes in all shapes and forms. Mm-hmm. I mean, mountain biking can be on a double track down a carriage road. Mm-hmm. Mountain biking can be on single track in the woods that's tight and gnarly, or it can be screaming down a mountain at Killington, at Berkshire East. We had Berkshire East on last year. It could be in a lot of different ways. Like Bolton Valley just built out a mountain bike park, and Sugarbush has one. So, it comes in all shapes and forms. But today, there is one mountain bike park here in New England that is a standalone. It's called the Highland. Mm-hmm. Highland ski area is for, I'm old, so I remember it. But as you were coming down Route 93 from Loon or Cannon, you'd come to the Tilton exit, and you'd look to the left, and there was the Highlands. There was a lift there. There was always snow up on the hill. Mm-hmm. You'd say, wow, there's a ski area I got to go ski. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Like so many, like Watatic, like Temple Mountain, it's gone. It disappeared. It was no longer there. And then somebody came along and said, let's recycle this thing. Let's reuse it. Revive it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, there was a lift there. Mm-hmm. There's a double chair. I'm still, as everybody knows, I'm a fan of slow doubles where you can take it in. Well, Mark Hayes came in and redeveloped it and took what he saw out in Whistler, British Columbia, which is truly the epicenter of, we're going to say, big mountain riding,
right,
and created something absolutely unique and crazy here in New England.
And we're going to get into that with our discussion. And, you know, I'm looking forward to hearing what the new facilities look like. I think you haven't been yet to the Highlands.
Up to the Highlands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, and
yeah.
it's a recent incarnation.
I haven't been through there in probably 5 years.
Okay.
You know, I'm a cross country rider, so I normally, if I want to come down a hill, I earn my descent by climbing it, and that
get up there on your own power. Yeah.
That includes Vail or anything. I don't ride the lifts normally. I climb, but I haven't been up there real recently. But I can tell you what I have seen, what I know about Highlands, what I know about the patrons of Highlands. Highlands is a real deal. I mean, it's guess what? If it doesn't snow, they still ride.
Right.
So
about how far from the Boston area?
I would say an hour and a half.
Not bad at all. Come on.
From Boston. Yeah. So it's
great
all highway coming up, and it's simple to get to. It's, you know, there's a lot happening up there. So coming up next, we're going to have Mark Hayes and Kevin Owens from the Highlands Mountain Bike Park to tell us what's going on up there and give us a view of why we all should go.
Looking for expert ski, snowboard, and boot fitting advice? Stop into one of Country Ski and Sport's 3 locations in Quincy, Westwood, or Hanson, Mass. As a third-generation family business, Country Ski has provided Boston area skiers with the best service and discounts in the area for over 50 years. Whether you are brand new to the sport or a seasoned veteran, Country Ski has the equipment and accessories for all ability levels. Don't forget to ask about their popular season lease program, which helps families eliminate the growing pains of purchasing new equipment every year as kids grow. And don't forget, any child 18 years or younger receives a free season pass to Saddleback Mountain with each lease from Country Ski. Visit countryski.com for all the latest information or to shop online.
The Button Ski Hanger is a patented ski storage fixture that safely stores alpine skis regardless of length, width, or shape. This means that your fat powder skis can now be stored next to your narrower carving skis, your race skis, and your kid skis. For more information, visit their website, buttonskirack.com. The Button Ski Hanger is also available for purchase at amazon.com. So make your purchase today. The Button Ski Hanger is simply better for your skis.
At 4,237 feet, Sugarloaf is one of the largest ski areas in the East and second highest peak in the state of Maine, trailing only Mount Katahdin. Boasting over 1,300 acres of open terrain and a vertical drop of nearly 3,000 feet, Sugarloaf offers a wide variety of terrain for all ability levels. A historic winter is ahead with the debut of West Mountain. It's the largest terrain expansion in the Northeast since the late 1970s, adding 12 new beginner and intermediate trails, 88,000 feet of snowmaking pipe, and 246 HKD snowmaking guns. Sugarloaf is a destination not to be missed. Stay slopeside and plan your trip today at sugarloaf.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Basecamp. Joining us now from the Highlands Mountain Bike Park in Northfield, New Hampshire, Mark Hayes, owner and president, and Kevin Owens, Summer Camp's riding programs manager. Welcome aboard, guys.
How's it going? Good to be here. Yeah, Mike, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Mark, it's been a while since I was up there helping to support the Claymore Challenge many moons ago, trying to get Teva's new riding shoe out there. So really stoked to see that you're still out there doing what you do.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a mere 12 years ago. It seems like yesterday.
Oh my goodness, we're getting old. Mark, why don't you give us some background on what you made you decide to open up a mountain bike park The thought here is that we have lost so many New England ski areas, but you've actually repurposed one. And I'd like to also know why Highland was the spot.
Yeah, I mean, the easy thing to say is just passion, right? I have passion for mountain biking. But, to step back a little bit, right around 1988, I started a business with my family, and it was my sister and my father. It was a fiber optic business, or a high-tech business. And while we were building that business, I started riding mountain bikes. So it was like the early 90s when I started riding for the first time. My cross-country riding turned into more aggressive cross-country. And then the free ride movement came along, which is, building features in the woods, drop-offs. And, it stemmed from the West Coast of Canada. So really got hooked onto the free ride scene around the same time I started downhill mountain bike racing. And so fast forward right around 2000, I sold my high-tech business. And at that time, I had visited Whistler Mountain Bike Park. And, I had been riding some of the ski resort mountain bike parks on the East Coast for a few years prior to going to Whistler. And then when I ended up at Whistler, it was just a whole different experience. The way that they were building their trails and engineering their trails, that the amount of effort they were putting into their trail systems was way different than what we would experience on the East Coast at that time. So with the sale of this business, I have this new capital. My passion for mountain biking was cruising pretty good, and I started looking for properties to bring sort of that Whistler feel over to the East Coast. And I ended up a friend of mine, he was a real estate attorney down in Massachusetts, had another friend who owned this place called Highland Mountain Ski Area. So I went and checked it out. And it was pretty cool to know that, there's this little resort just outside of Boston, about an hour and a half outside of Boston. I ended up buying it. It was $350,000 for the whole property, which I just got really lucky. I had a super passion for mountain biking. I sold my business. I had visited Whistler, and the price was right. So that's what kind of, got me into it.
Well, you said the 90s. I'm thinking John Tomac right now. The old way of riding, dropped handlebars on a mountain bike, and I can see you hammering it in the in the early 90s, and then to what mountain biking is today. Whistler is the epicenter of what came out as freestyle or free ride and downhill. And it's amazing what you have created up there with the jumps, with what people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it takes a team. There's no question. Of course, I didn't do it all myself. I was the fortunate guy that had the access to the capital because I sold this business. I'm sure there's plenty of people, super passionate people, if they were in the same boat, they would have done the same thing. But yeah, the key to it is just having an amazing team. People that are with me still today have helped build this brand to where it is today, which is a world-class bike park.
Yeah, it really is a world-class bike park without a doubt. There's when it comes to what's in New England, you guys have set a bar that everybody else is trying to hit. Kevin, first off, the reference to John Tomac, did you know what that reference was?
I do. Definitely before my time, but I do know who he is.
Well, it's not before my time because I was riding back in the early 90s and the late 80s, and our bikes, your downhill bikes were lighter than our cross-country bikes back then. just so you know. Why don't you give us an idea of your background and what brought you to the Highland?
Absolutely. I born and raised in New Hampshire, in southern New Hampshire. Lived my whole life in the Great Granite State. I grew up probably around the age of 2. I started skiing, fell in love with skiing. And much later in my life, probably around the age of 10, I found mountain biking and bikes. Started like every kid, building jumps in the neighborhood with some pallets and some cinder blocks, nice and sketchy. And then about 2014, 2015, I found and came to Highland for my first time. I was probably in 6th or 7th grade when I first came up here. Fell in love with it right away from the first time I came to Highland. Before I came to Highland, I was really big into travel soccer and other sports. I dropped those sports, started downhill racing and traveling the country downhill racing. Ended up going to college in New Hampshire at Plymouth State. Ended up racing bikes there as well, going to some collegiate nationals for mountain biking, stuff like that. My freshman year of college, I started ski coaching in the fall of my freshman year. I've been ski coaching ever since. And the summer of my freshman year, I started mountain bike coaching and have not left Highland since. So been here since. Just started with the summer camps about 2 years ago and have been loving it.
Boy, I've got an outdoor rec major from college, and I thought I was living the dream through my life. You've got it, man. I mean, that's like mountain bike in the summer, ski in the winter, and make a living at it. It's the way to go. Mark, how do you see mountain biking evolving since when you started this venture? I mean, from the first year, how many years has it been now?
Well, we are going into our 19th season. So, and
wow.
I bought it in 2003. So technically over 20 years, 21 years.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a huge change in just the bike technologies. You talk about the Tomac days with, fully rigid bikes, skinny tires, small handlebars, all that stuff. If you rode those bikes today, you just take for granted the technology and how far just the bike technology is advanced. And if you go back and you ride the old bikes that we used to ride, Mike, you just be like, well, how did I do this? How did I ride on this bike? So, the bike technology's come a long way. And then just the trail design at bike parks, trail design and the way we're building trails is way different today than it was when we first started. I mean, the key to it, the real key to it is making trails for everybody, from the very beginner level all the way to the best riders in the world. At least that's what we're trying to do here at Highland. And, but it's really super important to make that first timer trail and those first timer programs in order to grow the sport. So, and that's something that didn't really necessarily exist when I first got into this back in 2003. What we thought was a beginner trail definitely wasn't a beginner trail. Today, our beginner trail, is a 5% grade. It's a wide trail. Back then, we had our trail still today. Fancy Feast was our beginner trail, and now I think it's what is that thing? Is that a black diamond or is
blue?
It's blue, yeah. So it's there's sections on that trail that are really sketchy, steep, rocky sections that you wouldn't want to put, the mom and the dad and the kids down for the first time. So, it's from a building the right trail to the way we teach people has changed quite a bit over the last 20 years.
That's amazing because, as I watch bikes go up and down Route 93 or I'm in the woods riding, the changes in all of it, the bike technology is incredible. As I just told Kevin, our bikes back when were 30-pound bikes, and then all of a sudden we were trying to get under 20 on these cross-country bikes, but they jarred you something awful. You definitely, you definitely wanted titanium or something to absorb a little bit of the abuse. But we're gonna get back to the instruction and what you have for the young and old here in a minute. But Kevin, how have you seen, I mean, you're young enough, you haven't been out of college that long. What have you seen evolve over the last couple years?
Yeah. I mean, I think the easiest would be to use myself as an example. I see it from, with the training that we do here. When I was in high school, when I was, 15, 16, getting into this, getting more into racing, I never really heard about coaching or programs. I never even really thought about it with my friends. And we would go on and we would learn ourselves. We would, sometimes learn the hard way, maybe fall, maybe break an arm or something like that. And nowadays I see a lot more kids open to these training options that we have, which is really great to see. I see more people getting involved in mountain bike coaching and, taking lessons and getting knowledge rather than just learning the hard way and throwing yourself at some dirt.
Yeah. Well, if we could only get the skiing population to see that instruction matters like it does in, especially riding a place like Highland, where a little tweak can definitely keep you from hitting the dirt hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very, very important. Mark, skateboarding and surfing, I'm a little older than you, Mark, but I'm not going to say how much. But skateboarding and surfing were always the artistic individual sports we used to have. As Kevin just said, he played team sports and then graduated to mountain biking. Do you think mountain biking is now that individual adventure sport that's taking the limelight?
Well, first of all, Mike, I think I'm probably older than you. I'm 58. So
I've got you still. Sorry.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I'd say, if you look at the numbers, there's numbers thrown around about the number of people that are mountain biking in the United States, and I see it as the number that I always go back to is 40 million. There's 40 million mountain bikers in the United States, and comparing that, I'm not sure about surfing or skateboarding. Certainly, those are big sports. Skateboarding, a lot who didn't have a skateboard as a kid, but then again, who didn't have a bike as a kid. But if you're comparing it to 40 million mountain bikers, just to give you an idea of the size of the potential size of the industry, the ski industry has something like 12 or 13 million skiers, and that represents anywhere between 50 and 55 million skier visits. This is just the United States. So if you look at 40 million compared to, say, 12 or 13 million, we can conservatively say, there's 2 times as many people that, want to certainly get into, what we're doing, the bike park riding or bike park riding. But yeah, it's becoming more and more, I guess, mainstream. And the true reasons for that are because of the trails we're building and because of the lessons we're teaching. There's a lot of bike parks out there doing it right, whether it's even the community bike parks where you have coaching come in and provide coaching services at the community bike park, to the lift access sort of ski resort model. The more we can make it easier for people to have a good experience, that clearly the faster it's going to grow. So numbers, there's certainly some numbers out there of skateboarders and surfers, and but the one thing that's really cool about mountain biking compared to some of the other sports is that it is family friendly, and it's like a BMX park, for instance, or skaters and BMX, you don't usually see your moms and dads there, but at a bike park or a community bike park or a ski resort bike park, you do see them. You see the families. So it's really starting to take off because of that. just the accessibility in what we're doing and how we're building and teaching people today.
Yes, the change in biking, especially coming out of COVID, we knew everybody was buying a bike at that point, but they didn't stop riding. The trails are still full. People are still heading to you guys to ride. I look at what's happening up there, and it's the same as me sitting in the lineup at the Wall or at Genesee Beach, waiting for a wave, because the same people are up there riding with you guys. All of my friends are. It's pretty wild. Mark, let's go to the Highlands in specific. What, you built it, you own it. Or you had people build it, I should say, because you have a team. What are people going to find at the Highlands when they come up there?
Yeah, I think the thing that really sort of defines us as a brand is, well, first of all, okay, so our mission's pretty simple. We build trails, we teach people how to ride them, and we're 100% biking related. So the 100% biking related piece, when you show up to the parking lot, we're not conflicting with other user groups. Like we don't have zip lines and mountain coasters. You're showing up, you're surrounded by people that are passionate about riding bikes. And so everything we do here is 100% biking related. And we encourage people to, I remember the old days at some of the ski resort bike parks. This is going back, before it really started taking off, probably in the late 90s. And there were signs that said, no bikes on bricks, walk your bike, and there'd be people yelling at you. And I'm thinking, I don't want that. If I ever do this, that's never going to be Highland. People are just going to have the freedom to do what they want to do, obviously within reason. You can't, beat somebody up or something, but,
Yep.
Just having that freedom, just coming here and being surrounded by like-minded people. So that's really one of the things that kind of sets us apart. And I'm not bashing any like zip lines and mountain coasters. That's fine. People like to do those things, but it's just not us. Our brand is 100% biking.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for everything. And having a place where the mountain bike community can come together. I mean, that's why we have a NEMBA, because it brings mountain bike community together. It has nothing to do with anything but MTB, which is fantastic. Kevin, why don't, I'm an old guy. I bring my young kid or my grandkid at this point, not that I have one, to Highland, and I want to ride. Let's just say I'm 60 years old. Tell us what you would have for both of us and some of the programs you're offering.
Totally. So basically, to start, we have a program called Find Your Ride, which is our introductory lesson package. This is targeted at a person who's never been to a bike park before or never done downhill before. In the package, you'll get a rental bike for the day, a day pass for the full day, rental equipment for the full day, knee pads, elbow pads, a helmet, as well as a 1-hour introductory lesson that will go over basics like body positioning, braking, and some more fundamental movements, ranges of motion on the bike. And then in that lesson, you'll get a guided run down our easiest trail down the mountain called Freedom Trail, which Mark mentioned. That's our 5% graded trail. That's very friendly to any newcomers to the sport. So I would say if it's like in that scenario, your first time coming to Highland, that's definitely where you start. You start in the Find Your Ride program. And then moving up from there, we have many options. You can go on to their, say it was a kiddo, you can go to a kids day camp after you do a Find Your Ride. And kids day camps are for ages 6 to 14. We do a half-day kids camp and a full-day kids camp for the older kids. And then also you have options of stuff like private lessons where you can really hone your skills on jumping, dropping, cornering. You can really fine-tune what kind of lesson you want there. And then we also have our summer camp programs, which is where my role is. We have full week programs for ages 11 to 16. We have a Monday through Friday camp called Air Academy. And then for ages 8 to 13, we have a Monday to Wednesday 3-day camp called Summer Ride. So a little bit of age overlap there, but a younger kids camp and an older kids camp. And then we also have an adult camp that we run in the springs and the falls for 3 days. That's for people age 21 and up to find like-minded riding buddies, as well as improve their skills with more advanced coaching. And we do have more than that. We have some women's events too, where we have women's specific weekends where we get females together and give clinics, specific skill clinics like jumping and dropping. And it also makes some great community time for those women to spend together.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you about women's programs because I'll tell you what, some of the females out there riding right now are unbelievable. They are that good. And it's fantastic to see that it doesn't matter demographics. Yeah, some people will be riding a little bit lesser bike, but male, female doesn't matter in this sport.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it definitely used to be male dominated. I saw that myself even in college. When I was a freshman in college, my team was, I believe, all males. In my senior year of college, when I took over the team and was the president, was able to get females onto the team and even take those females to national competitions. And now I believe one of those females has taken over the club. So yeah, no, it's great to see more and more females getting involved in the sport.
That's fantastic. Well, Mark, I know you're all about mountain biking. You have built out some cross-country trails as well?
Yeah, that's right. We have, well, if you count all the trails, including the access roads, there's probably about 10 miles of trails right now. But a couple years ago, I purchased 85-acre plot of land that's attached to a 500-acre plot of land that we have been utilizing for the last, well, pretty much since day one. We've got a great partnership with our neighbor. They're a tree farmer. They're called Meadows End Timberlands. They're awesome. They own something like 33,000 acres in throughout New England. So they've been a great partner. In fact, the forester, Scott Jeremy Turner, is a mountain biker, and I remember back in the old days, used to see him racing. He was one of the racers on the circuit. So he gets it. He gets what we're doing, and they've allowed us to build cross-country trails on their land. So we've got about roughly 600 acres that we're building out slowly but surely. I'm also I sit on the board of and the mission there is to promote outdoor recreation and economic expansion through community partnerships, which it's pretty cool. The area that we're in, we've got our cross-country trail network, we've got the Highland Mountain Bike Park, lift access. Our ultimate goal is to connect our cross-country network with a series of other networks of trails in the area. One of them is Franklin Falls, which is in Franklin, New Hampshire, just the next town over.
Yep.
Some really cool things. Yeah, there's some really cool things going on. So we've got a rail trail that basically connects Northfield to Franklin, and our ultimate goal is to get our trail system down to that rail trail so we can connect right into Franklin. And then once we're in Franklin, we have access to the Franklin Falls, and also the Veterans Memorial Ski Area has started to build some trails on their little ski area, their town ski area. That's a free trail system. These are all free trail systems. And combined with the Whitewater Park, there's actually a Whitewater Park that's being developed in Franklin. So really just a lot of a lot of things are going to happen here in the coming years with recreation in the area, just between bike trails and downtown areas and the Whitewater Park, just linking all of these recreation assets together and really, having this area blow up as far as recreation mecca. And just, it's only an hour, like I said earlier, it was an hour and a half outside of Boston. We've got 93, the major highway, going, right by our exit. So super easy to access, but also the feeling that you're in the country. So we've got a good thing going, and more cross country trails are coming. Ultimately, with the 85 acres, we're basically gonna build a little mini free mountain bike park out there. So a lot of cool stuff coming for us in that world.
That's awesome. Thank you for leading the charge here, because that whole area, Franklin, with the Whitewater Park and so on, they need that influx of economy there, just like in Plymouth with Tenny right now, trying to build up these North Country economies that have, ebbed and flowed through the years. And I applaud you for doing it. Kevin, bikes, what do you guys offer for equipment up there?
Yeah, we rent all sorts of equipment. Like I mentioned, we do rent helmets and pads if you do need that stuff. We don't require a full face helmet to ride the hill, but we do rent those full face helmets and highly encourage them. We do rent all sorts of bikes. I believe we have a few, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, a few rentals for our dirt jumps, just here and there, just a couple. And then more so we have our full suspension mountain bikes that we rent. A few more enduro-y bikes, definitely full travel, can handle anything that the hill throws at you. And then we also have our full downhill bikes, dual crown front forks going up to the bars, 200 mils of travel in the rear. So we've got a lot of options in our rental fleet.
It's hard to believe we used to ride, Mark, with 80 millimeters of travel on the front fork at one point. Kevin's going, are you kidding me?
Oh, my first bike was a Specialized stump jumper, $700, fully rigid, no fork. And then I remember buying a Judy SL front fork because my buddies were all buying them, and that was a game changer. But if I had to get on that bike now and ride it, I think I'd quit.
Well, yeah, just think of the difference in geometry, how stretched out these things were too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was Kevin's going, no way. I don't want to do it.
Actually, my first mountain bike was my dad's or my mom's old bike from the 90s, fully rigid.
That was probably my bike.
It was, I think the brand was called Wheeler.
Oh yeah.
That was
a fully rigid bike that I rode for a bit, and it scared the crap out of me.
When you were shopping at alternative bikes in Goffstown, right, or Manchester there? Remember alternative? Yeah.
I do. It wasn't my parents might have gotten it from there, but no, my first mountain bike I just grabbed out of the garage, stole it from the parents.
Well, you're lucky to be riding, just like you're not riding on 210 straight skis. You're lucky to be riding on today's mountain bikes. Mark, we talked briefly beforehand about the Claymore Challenge, which I was at for a couple years to check out. Anything, that was a world-class event, and I'm totally world-class with world-class riders. Anything like that ever in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we'll never not, if there's an opportunity for sure, and it just takes capital to put on a big event like that. That last event, the bill on that was about almost 200,000, a little more than 200,000 to put that on, between, having the satellite trucks here and having, just the teams of people running cables around, the announcers, the broadcast, all of that stuff, and of course, building the course, dialing the course in every year. to the specific standards that it has to be. And it's expensive. Really cool show, but we need, a big partner to be able to pull that off. And we were lucky that last year we had Red Bull was a big partner they supported quite a bit of it. And we had some smaller sponsors as well. But we out of pocket, I paid 70 grand out of pocket that year to put on that event. And what is the return on something like that? It's hard to say. You talk about it, you're still talking about it, and other people still talk about it. So maybe it was totally worth it. But yeah, we won't turn away from a good opportunity to put on a big show if the right people are in place. We do have events that we host, whether it's our Friday night race series, which, geez, I don't even know if we're doing that this year. Are we doing that this year?
I think so. Thanks.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. We can wormhole that later. But we also have our free ride series that is a 3-part series. It starts off in our dirt jumps, and then it goes the next in line is the half pipe that we built out last year. So the athletes will compete in half pipe, and then we finish up on our slopestyle course right in the front of our mountain. So that's a cool little series. It's an FMBA's bronze level series. And yeah, I mean, any opportunity to do more bigger events, we'll take a look at it. We always welcome that kind of thing.
Well, that's the challenge to any listeners out there. If you're looking to get notoriety and put on an event, give Mark a call up at the Highlands because, be a partner.
Oh boy, you did it now.
There you go. We're putting out the call to everybody. Is there anywhere else in the country that you know of that has taken a defunct ski area and turned it into something special like this?
There's a lot of folks building municipal bike parks, shuttle access type bike parks. There's a lot of that going on. E-bike friendly bike parks. I'm not aware of any old ski resort in the United States that has a chairlift that is now just a bike park like us. I mean, for the longest time, we were able to make that claim that we were the first and only lift access bike park that's just a bike park. I do believe over in Europe there's one. I was reading about it not too long ago. Some guys took over an old rundown ski area and did basically the same thing that myself and my team did here. But yeah, I think, Mike, a lot of the bike parks in the United States are either like a municipal bike park, like what they're doing. They're doing a lot of this stuff down in Arkansas. And in the Midwest, seems like lots of bike parks opening, but shuttle truck access bike parks, not an old ski area. But with that said, it makes a lot of sense for all the ski resorts to have the infrastructure, have the chairlifts, have the workforce, have these business units, to turn them back on in the summertime and just run that machine year round, have that year round recurring revenue. And there's a lot of folks doing that, a lot of ski resort folks doing that now today.
Even still building them out like Bolton just built it out and so on, which is good.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's great. It's great for us. One way to look at it. So we're in that business too. If I back up real quick, we got the mission, we build trails, we teach people how to ride them. We're 100% biking related, but we're grounded by 3 business platforms. So we have the Highland Mountain Bike Park, which, sells tickets and does the lessons and rent bikes and events and food and beverage, all that. It's classic ski resort bike park model. So let's call that platform 1. The second platform, which, Kevin is really instrumental in driving, is the camps platform. So that's for the longer term committed customer that wants to spend a couple days learning how to ride their bike, whether you're an adult or a kid. like the programs that Kevin mentioned. And then the third platform is the trail building platform. So everything we know how to do, designing and building and maintaining our trails here at the mountain, we bring that on the road, and we offer that to our clients on the road. So whether it's us doing it, helping the next ski resort, or one of our competitors like Gravity Logic or somebody like that, it's all good. It's good for us. It's helping. If you have the right person in there teaching the resort how to build the bike park, so it has the return on the capital that they've invested in these things. There's going to be more and more people getting into it when it's done right, and it's only going to benefit us all. And we've seen that. We've actually seen that when Thunder came online and when Killington started building out more of a modern day bike park. We just started getting busier and busier because it just gets more people into the sport. So everybody out there building bike parks, if you're doing it the right way, if you're building for the masses, and you have trail systems that people can progress to, and you put the right signage in place, and if you do it right, it's amazing what how fast the industry ends up growing. And I've seen it. I'm witnessing it right now, and it's really really amazing to be a part of it.
Well, it is growing. I'm going to leave you with this story. I live in Windham, New Hampshire, just down 93 from you guys. And I have a neighbor who had a Kubota. We have a hill out behind us in the woods. They actually took the Kubota out there, made ramps, made jumps. And we have 3, I'm going to say they're 12-year-olds, maybe 13-year-olds that all have bikes, neighbors around us, and they spend every day perfecting their jumps because all of them have season's passes to the Highland. Okay. And one mom came to me and goes, that's all he wanted for the summer. I go, what more do you want than your kid to be outside, enjoying nature, and perfecting a skill that's good for a lifetime?
Yeah, isn't it so true? And then with all this AI technology, which is great on one side, as long as it does the right thing for humanity. On the other side, you still need to get outside, right? You still need to breathe and climb mountains and ski and ride your bike and do things. I mean, it's really what.
Well, these 3 young gentlemen, they are never inside. When they're not on their bike, there's a trampoline, and I sit in my family room on a couch looking out, watching them launch and perfect things off the trampoline when they're not on their bike. So they're heading your way. They love it up there. And I am so stoked that you guys are doing what you're doing.
We're happy to be doing it. I'm happy, at least.
So happy all the time. Hey, if they ever get the chance, tell them to come say hi to me in summer camp this summer.
I will tell Evan to come say hi. And, they're just stand-up kids that are out there. They're not on the computer. They're outside every day perfecting their riding, which is awesome. I want to thank you both for joining me today. That was awesome. The Highland is the premier spot. It's a little bit of the northwest of Whistler right here in New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mike. Well, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It's been a blast.
All right. We'll see you guys when I come up.
All right.
All righty. Sounds good.
Yeah, see you soon.
This is the year to visit the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort. With over 450 inches of annual snowfall, 4,000 vertical feet of continuous fall line skiing, a world-renowned ski school, and terrain for everyone, the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort is perfect for your next ski trip with friends or family. Off the slopes, Jackson Hole offers adventure and relaxation. Visit Yellowstone or Grand Teton National Parks. See elk, moose, and bison roaming in their natural habitats, or relax in a hot spring or at a spa. No more excuses. This is the year to go visit Jackson Hole. Go to jacksonhole.com for more information.
Hestra knows hands. For over 80 years, Hestra has been producing the highest quality, warmest gloves you can own. Crafted with durable, form-fitting leathers, they are made with the end user in mind. Don't let cold hands end a great day of skiing or snowboarding early. With hundreds of different options, you'll find a Hester glove that fits your needs. Check out Hester Gloves at hestergloves.com. That's HESTRAGLOVES.com. Or at your local ski shop or wherever Hester Gloves are sold. Hester Gloves, taking care of your hands since 1936.
So, David, did that not get you psyched to finally get on a mountain bike?
I might be buying or renting a bike or borrowing one, but yes, absolutely. Just it's the guests that we have on this podcast that you land, Mike. But you deserve the credit. They do inspire you because they, as you said, they walk the walk, they talk the talk. These guys are all about biking. So I enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah. You know what I enjoyed best? Is that when Mark thought he was older than I was. I mean, that was the best part about it because, all right, I'm young.
Well, you keep getting on bikes and you keep getting on skis, Mike, and you don't age. I mean, you've got the bionic knee now, so you're unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what I got out of it, you know, when you think about these parks, when you think about the jumps that you see these guys go off of, it's a progression to get to that level. And I think what I got out of that discussion that made me the happiest is that they weren't only looking for people to come up and ride, they were going to take neophytes, David Yas, and make him a rider.
And that's great because that's, as I said, mountain biking is not something that I've competed in various athletics over the years. I was actually captain of my basketball team back in the day.
Tiddlywinks don't count.
It's not that I'm afraid of the outdoors. I am, but this would be something I'd be interested in because it would be, why not? A great day outdoors. You got you get a good workout and you get some adventure. You get to see a place you've never seen before if you've never been to Highland Mountain Park. And so I might be making my way up 93.
Well, I'll make a call up there and see if we can get you in for a ride. And it doesn't have to be huge. It was sort of like we're just a couple weeks ago we were talking about hiking. We all go for walks.
Right.
Okay? We all do. It doesn't have to be huge. It just have to be pushing your envelope to your level. And I think that's the best thing in their mission statement to me is that they are actually out there teaching people beyond just creating something for people to go out and hack.
Yeah, making it easy because, to me, the daunting thing would be what kind of equipment do I have to buy? Well, in fact, you can buy as much as you want. You can buy as little as you want. They've got the rentals there. They've got demos. They've got we talked about the summer camps and lessons that they give. So a neophyte like me, the doors are open to me, apparently. So I'm out of excuses here, Mike.
Well, I'll even go up with you.
All right.
If you want, you can meet me at my house. I'll drive the rest of the way. Well, and guess what? There is a beer because I know they have a good beer right there. So we can have a beer afterwards.
Well, now.
Sold.
Yes.
Sold.
Deal can't get any sweeter now.
So, well, thank you, Mark Hayes, for coming on. Thank you for Highland for everything you do for keeping the bike industry vibrant as in this ever-changing world, and for keeping the kids in my neighborhood driven to be outside and enjoying life. We thank you. That was fantastic.
Great conversation. By the way, Highland Mountain Park, you can go to the website, easy to remember, highlandmountain.com. All that information will be in the show notes of this episode if you want more information on all the stuff they got going on there, including the rentals and the lessons and the trails and everything else. This is a production, the Basecamp Podcast is a production of the New England Ski Journal and Seamans Media. He is the great mountain man, Mike Spiecian. I am David Yaz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
New England Ski Journal's Basecamp is a Seamans Media podcast. Seamans Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.